Now, this is exactly true whether you're in employment or whether you're in a business. You have to have your vision. If you're at work, you have your vision about how you want to be seen within the business environment, within your company, within your job. You have your idea and your vision about how you want to be positioned and where you want to be placed and how you want people to see you. And you go through trial and error. Now, if I do this, does that display integrity? Or do I have to do that and it displays integrity? And you constantly monitor and feedback yourself. If you've got a small business, if you've got a property portfolio, whatever it may be, just keep testing these little ideas out in the marketplace, see what kind of reaction you get, and then keep on fine-tuning the commander's intent or the vision. The commander's intent, then, is the overall intention of the business or you or your property portfolio in the outside world. Now, I start describing it as a military term, and those of you that were in the services will know this one very well. Each military unit knows the commander's intent. Now, the commander's intent may be, for simplicity's sake, that we're going to advance 10 yards on the northern border. You can tell I know nothing about the services. But it might be that we're going to advance 10 yards on the northern border. The trouble in the old days, or under the old more formal models, was this, is the troops would all start marching off towards the northern border, and then the enemy would come at you broadside. They'd come at you from over here, and then so all your troops have to turn and go that way then. Okay. But if you know the commander's intent is over there, once you've dealt with this fracas over here, whatever it may be, you can get back on track and you're off again towards the commander's intent. So as long as you've got that big vision, whatever distracts you, and we could then have some enemy come at us from this side, whatever happens, we always know to come back to our commander's intent because we've got the general position. Now you can hear that that isn't prescriptive. The commander does not say, march 300 paces, left foot in front of the right foot, etc., because the trouble with that is as soon as it gets its scuppered, they're off direction. So we cannot be prescriptive with our planning, and that's the change. So the commander's intent has to be clear to a military unit so that they know where they're going. And there's a common saying in the services which goes like this: no plan ever survived contact with the enemy, because the enemy will come at you from all kinds of different ways, which is why they have to ditch the plan and have the commander's intent instead. And I'd like to move that forward into our environment and suggest that no business plan completely survives contact with the customer under the same premise. So business planning, again, has to be completely different. Our business troops, however they are, whether they be on the office, the shop floor, or in the garage, or there's 1 of them, 10 of them, 27 of them, whatever, they all need to understand the commander's intention for that business and the founder's vision and the vision of the organisation. They have to understand that first and foremost, or they can't actually live and breathe and enact what your intention may be. Now, I hope that makes sense, because we're going to carry the idea forward, and I can now tell you about the point of difference. We used to call this something like the USP, but we now know, because the marketplace is so large, you can't imagine. They reckon that in a major marketplace like London or New York, there are so many different, distinct types of product that it would probably amount to about 10 billion different consumer choices for the customer, from houses to shoes to books to coffee, to trousers to, buying a car, whatever it may be. And then within the cars, you've got the big ones, the little ones, the red ones, the green ones, one with 3 wheels, one with 4 wheels, one with 5 wheels, one with big wheels, one with little wheels. And it goes out and out and out and out and out until it's generally perceived now that every major marketplace has 10 billion distinct types of product. Now that might scare some people because the thought of scarcity immediately kicks in and you think, oh, if there's 10 billion types of product out there, there's no room for me. You might think that, but go back to an earlier session, just plant your tree. Okay, just because there's loads of other trees, you can still plant your tree. And I think this gives us fantastic opportunity because we now can all, because the market is so big, we can all pile in, we can all be in the marketplace. And they do say that millions more product choices come onto the market every single month. So it's an ever expanding thing. Now, to explain the point of difference, I struggled with this because I kept trying to think, what visual can I give them to explain what the point of difference is? And I came up with this. Now, this is a Microsoft colour chart. And for me, I see the market like that with like a mesh laid over it. And there's loads and loads and loads of squares. And each square is fractionally different to the square next door. So let's just say your square, your point of difference, your place and positioning in the marketplace is to sell bread pudding with custard. Okay? The square next to you sells bread pudding with ice cream. Okay? And there is the point of difference. And the square next to them sells ice cream, but they do it with apple crumble. And then the one next to that, it's rhubarb crumble, but they've gone back to custard again. And you can hear that each distinct square is slightly different to the one either side of it. Does everyone get that as a principle? So there's this massive mesh, and as more products come into the marketplace, the mesh gets finer and finer, because there's more and more and more and more and more and more. So your point of difference, in effect, gets smaller and smaller, and you've got to be more accurate with it. And I sort of tried describing it like that, and then I got our graphics guy to sort of do this, and we're sort of a bit clearer with what I mean here, but it's still not quite right, so I've had another go at describing and showing you what I mean. So are you ready? You ready? I'm going to show you. All right, bring on the board. Where are they? Oh, here they are with our board. Okay. Now, here we have a common marketplace. And here we have, thank you, gentlemen, this is beautiful.